Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I apologize that the lighting is kind of weird. There's like shadows all over my face and stuff, but I'm here in my reptile room, which doesn't have very good lighting, and I don't really have room to bring my ring light in here, so sorry about that. It's whatever. As a lot of you guys know, I've been working on a lot of upgrades in my pet room. You guys have seen like the new shelving thing that I had built to fit a bunch of cages on it. All of my snakes got new cages pretty well. I did like new leopard gecko cages. I've been doing a lot of upgrades, and the last one that you guys saw was Dorito, my crested gecko, his new cage. And in his video I mentioned that I would also be redoing Derek, who's my gargoyle gecko's cage, and Mark, who is my standing stay gecko cage, and their cages are all done now. I've also done a little bit more to Dorito's cage, so his cage is going to be included in this video again, even though you just saw it, because there have been some updates and changes to it. So I'm really excited to show you guys that. I have 3 new cages for my geckos, a new cage for Dorito, Derek, and Mark, so I'm really excited to show you guys. I really like the way that the cages turned out. They are all live planted. Yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and show you the cages now, stop talking about them, and actually let you guys see them. So let's take a look. So you can see that I have the 3 cages up here. They are on top of my like Terra shelving unit thing. These are all Terra cages. And then I have the 3 up here as well. Some of you guys may have noticed in my previous videos that this shelf was bending a little bit with the weight of these cages on it. So we put a wooden support board there, so that is all good now. The shelf is straight once again, so no need to worry there. But now let's get looking at the cages. So here we have Doritos, here we have Derek's, and here we have Mark's. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys like a detailed look at each individual cage now, starting with Dorito and working our way over. So here we have Dorito's tank. You can actually see Dorito hanging out right there. Obviously you can probably tell I misted his tank recently because there is water droplets on all of the plants, but let's go ahead and talk about his cage a little bit. If you guys watched my last video talking about his cage, you would remember that I had a fake vine in here along with all the live plants. I ended up taking that vine out because I did add more plants in. So this right here is a new plant along with this right here and this one in the middle here. So since I added new plants in, it added more coverage, so I didn't really feel the need to have the fake vine in there anymore. Ideally I do still want some more coverage up top, but obviously that will come with these Schlafera plants growing out some. They're pretty dead. When I repotted them, they kind of dropped some of their old leaves and new ones are growing back, so as the new leaves grow in, this will fill out some more, so I'm really excited to see how that turns out. But for the meantime, this is what it is looking like. So as I mentioned before, there is lots and lots of plants down on the bottom. I also have like obviously substrate, and there's leaf litter and such. His feeding ledge is over here. He has multiple branches throughout the cage to let him climb. There's lots of coverage in here for him with all of the plants, and then of course there is Dorito himself. I did mention in my last video with Dorito's cage also that I'm not like, this light up here is only temporary. I ordered a linear bulb for his cage. It has not arrived yet. It should be coming in this week though, but this bulb is just temporary until I get his linear one. So that is what his cage is looking like so far. I'm really liking the way that it has turned out, and I'm super excited to see how it will look as the plants fill out more. Dorito has seemed to be really enjoying his cage. I see him walking around it, I see him exploring, I see him, I don't know, I find he is out quite often, which he's always been a fairly active gecko, so that's not surprising, but he does really seem to be enjoying his cage quite a bit, which I'm very happy about. And next, moving on from Dorito's cage, we have Derek's cage right here. I feel like Derek doesn't get shown on my channel a whole lot. It mostly has to do with the fact that he just doesn't like handling at all, which is totally fine with me. He just hangs out in his cage and I get to observe him, but he doesn't really tolerate handling feeling well, so I don't take him out that often. Here's Derek. He is growing a ton. If you guys remember when I first got him, he was so tiny. He was so tiny when I first got him, literally like my fingertip. And he is looking fairly dull in color right now, so he's probably going to shed soon. But anyways, this is his current cage setup, so I'll go ahead and tell you guys all about this one. I didn't go into a lot of detail with Dorito's cage just because I already did a video solely on his cage, so if you do want to learn more about it, I will link the video in the description below, but I'll give you some more detail on Derek's cage. So this cage here is an 18 by 18 by 24 Terra, which is quite large for Derek. As you guys can see, he is still quite the small gecko. Obviously he's still growing and he has a lot of growing to do, so when he is full size, this is like the absolute minimum cage size he would need. But I was slightly worried about putting him in here in the first place because of how tiny he was. I was worried that he might get stressed in here with it being so large, but he is doing so well. He's been in here for a little while now and he's just doing really well. He is thriving. He's having no issues here. He seems to really enjoy it, so I have no doubt that he is doing okay in this tank. If for whatever reason I start to notice him becoming stressed out or anything, I will obviously move him back into his smaller cage until he is ready to be upgraded, but I think he is going to do just fine in this cage from what I've already seen. So Derek's cage obviously has a lot of plants in it as well. I mean, all of them do. That's sort of the goal I was going for. I wanted some nice planted tanks. There's some Thanas in here. This is some sort of palm. I do forget the name of it. I do want to point out I'm really bad with plants. I don't remember the names of a lot of things, but I always make sure that they're like safe for my reptiles before I buy them. So I do know that all of these plants in here are safe. I just don't remember that all of their names. But there is some pothos in here. This is some sort of dracaenas. There is a money tree in the back, and I think that this one's called a ponytail palm. These ponytail palms I've heard actually don't typically do that well in high humidity cages, but I have had this plant for over a year now, and I mean, it's been staying alive the whole time, so I've really never had any issues with it. But apparently they don't always do the best in high humidity cages, but as I said, I've been having no issue with it. Alongside with all of the plants that Derek has, he obviously has lots of branches and sticks to climb on. This one has actually fallen over. I like it to be up there. There we go. So he has lots and lots of sticks throughout the cage, so I think he's really been enjoying this. Like I said, it has a lot of sticks for him to climb on. It has a lot of plants, gives him a lot of hiding spots. Although Derek doesn't really tend to hide a ton. You can see his belly over there. He tends to hang out in the open fairly often, so that's really cool. Yeah, this is his cage, so he has the same substrate mix there. His cage doesn't actually have any leaf litter in it right now, mostly just because I ran out. So I'm probably gonna get some to add in there. It's not like leaf litter is a necessity or anything, but I do like the way that it looks, so I'm probably going to add some. But this is his tank, so he has his feeding ledge over here as well. I mean, I can't remember if I pointed it out, but Doritos is also there. But yeah, they have their feeding ledges, and yeah, that's I feel like that's really all I can say. I don't really know what else to say. Like, it's a tank, it has plants in it, it has sticks in it, and it has a gecko in it. There is Dorito. That's not Dorito. There is Derek. So last up we have Mark's cage. I don't actually know where Mark is at the moment. He's probably hiding behind some plant or anything. If I see him at any point, I will show him to you guys, but Mark is usually hiding. This is his new cage. His was the last one that I finished, so I actually just finished this up last night, but I think it looks really awesome. I really like the way that it turned out. Mark has only been in here for a day, so I can't really say if I know he likes it a lot or not, but I have a feeling he'll like it. I think this is a lot better than his previous cage he was in. It has a lot more coverage, a lot more plants, so I think he will enjoy it. So Mark actually made a bit of a mess on the glass here. I don't know how well you can see it, but he likes to walk in his Pangea. So he walked in his Pangea earlier today and got it on the glass. So that will need a cleaning later, but just ignore that for now. Marcus just likes to play with his food like a child. I feel like Mark's cage is probably the most heavily planted out of all of them. Like, this whole area of the cage is very heavily planted, which is why I can't even see him right now. Mark is a standing day gecko and they're very skittish. I find they can be quite shy, so I'm sure he will love to have all of these plants. He's probably loving it so much, which is why I cannot find him anywhere, but that's fine, it's whatever. For Mark's cage, again, he has the substrate mix and there is leaf litter in his cage. I used it all up in his cage before I added any in Dorito's cage. He does have some leaf litter in here, and then he also has a combination of all sorts of different plants. There is this kind of palm tree. Well, it's not really a palm tree. It's, I don't know, some sort of palm plant. There is dracaenas in here. There is a money tree in the back over there. And there is obviously branches and stuff throughout the cage. There's like this vine here. There's also pothos on the ground. And Mark has 2 of these ledges also. I find Mark seems to enjoy the ledges. I often see him hanging out on the ledges. I've never really seen my other geckos using ledges much, so I give them both to Mark because he seems to enjoy them the most. And yeah, so Mark obviously has his lights there. He has his 5.0 UVB and his heat lamp in the back, so this back area is the warm area of the tank, and then it's cooler over here, and as you move down it's cooler. So yeah, that is his tank. Once again, I really like the way that this turned out. I really like the heavily planted look of this. I really like the vines in here, so hopefully as Mark settles into his cage more, he will enjoy it a bunch, because I don't know, I think he will, but hopefully he hopefully he definitely enjoys it. I'm looking forward to see how Mark interacts with this setup in the future. I'm really excited about that. Okay, hello, I am back. So I wanted to take a quick few minutes to answer some questions I feel like I'll probably get about these cages. I got some questions on my video about Dorito's cage, so I have a feeling of what kind of questions I'll get on this video, so I wanted to answer some of those quickly. The first one is people ask me why I don't add like springtails or isopods into these cages to make them bioactive. To answer that, I plan on it. I do plan on adding springtails and isopods into these cages. I would love to make them fully bioactive. I just cannot do that right now. Where I live, there is like no reptile shops really. I have like a PetSmart, basically my options. So there's really nowhere around me that sells isopods and springtails, so that limits my options, but I can order them online. That's no issue. The only problem is right now it is winter here in Canada. It is cold, so basically any of the places that I could order them from can't guarantee like live arrival because of the cold weather right now. So I don't really want to risk it. Like, I don't want to order a bunch of isopods and springtails just to have them all freeze to death on the way, but I do have plans of adding those to these tanks in the future. I would definitely love to do that, so hopefully within the next few months as it warms up I will be able to order those, and then that'll be that. Just wanted to answer that question. So I basically do plan on making these all bioactive. Just due to my location and the weather, I can't really do that right now, but hopefully that'll be a future project that I'm really excited for. Second question I think that I will probably get asked is, why didn't I make my own background? A lot of people, when they make like bioactive cages or just like live vivariums or whatever, they make their own backgrounds using like spray foam and silicone, and they'll put like cork or like different woods and stuff into the background, and I think that those look great when other people do it. I always see people making awesome cages and I think they turn out so well, but I have done it in the past. I do have one cage currently set up with a background I made, and I've actually done it on another cage in the past that I no longer have, and I just never really liked the way it turned out when I did it. Like, honestly, the cage that I have done with like a DIY background is my Amazon tree boa cage, and I do think it looks okay, but I'm not totally happy with it. Honestly, like, I'm not a huge fan of the way that it looks with like the coconut fiber and everything, so I just decided not to do it with these cages. These cages are expensive. I just got 2 of them brand new. The third one I only got a few months back, so these cages are new and expensive, and I was just scared that if I made my own background I would end up hating it, so I just decided to skip that, and I just kept the backgrounds they have, and I still think that the cages look really nice. So that's basically to answer that question. I've made foam backgrounds in the past, and I have never liked the way they turn out when I do it. I think it looks great when other people do it. I just suck at making them apparently, so that's why I didn't do that. I feel like those are the two main questions I'll get asked. Who knows, I'll probably get asked a bunch more questions, but that's okay. If you have more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. So with those all answered and everything now, I think I'll just go ahead and end the video here. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Also be sure to check out all of my social media. Everything is just EmmaSam99. It will all be linked in the description below. Would love it if you guys came and checked out my Instagram or Twitter. Would appreciate it a ton. All of that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time.